Accessibility means recognition. It means that somebody or a group of people recognize that I, as a blind person, as a JAWS user, has value. Accessibility creates empowerment for myself, for other JAWS users, for other individuals with disabilities.
My team is a solid work training family of 14. We have 8 trainers, 8 TSRs that work together to support Peckham's mission and initiatives and provide opportunities to those CSRs on the NPIC contract.
CAS is the software program that the customer service representatives use here to schedule appointments. It has a lot of things that are color-coded, which sometimes can be difficult for JAWS to access. JAWS itself is a screen reader program designed for blind and visually impaired individuals so that they can hear what's on the computer screen as opposed to seeing it. When I started here at Peckham 6 years ago, I was told that CAS was not accessible for JAWS. So I didn't even open it, I didn't look at it. I noticed that there weren't any JAWS users that went beyond being on the phones or doing applicant line. And I heard frustrations from those who had been here before me that they didn't feel like they had opportunities, the same opportunities for upward mobility as other team members. In the growth that I had moving from general information to applicant line, trying to move into some other positions, we noticed that there would potentially be some pushback sometimes. And oftentimes the reason that was given for why I couldn't do this position, or maybe I wasn't a good fit for this one, was because I wasn't able to use CAS.
She is a go-getter. She loves to test systems and software. She looks for solutions when problems arise.
Me being a person that doesn't like to hear the word no or to be told that I can't do something, decided that I was going to try to knock down that barrier. I reached out to my supervisor at the time and had an account set up for me with CAS and said, just on my downtime between calls, I'm just gonna kind of explore, see what it looks like, see what I can find out, see what I can do. I did that for a few weeks. I had a sighted coworker of mine come sit with me after I had explored it myself, and I had her answer some questions on a visual aspect. Once I had that information, I went back to kind of just playing around with it. I reached out to a few of my fellow JAWS users here who are far more experienced with JAWS than I am, and got some suggestions and went back and figured out a way to essentially read the color coding, and with that was able to then figure out how to schedule, reschedule, and cancel appointments with CAS.
When she came in and interviewed for us, we were so excited to see what she was capable of. She put together a 5-minute training presentation. It's a 2-interview process, and she really was the strongest candidate. So we were very excited to bring April aboard the team.
What drove me was just to provide education to other team members, to other staff members. If you understand JAWS, if you understand the needs of the user, then it's going to create a more positive experience for both sides.
When it comes to having a JAWS user a part of the training team, she has been able to network with other departments. She has been able to test different softwares in different areas throughout the contract to be able to show what a JAWS user can do.
Since then, there has been a JAWS user that was hired as a TSR in Phoenix, which is really exciting. There's a JAWS user who is being considered for a QA, a quality assurance position, which is really exciting. There's also a JAWS user in Phoenix who was given a position on help desk. So it's been really exciting to see that my opportunity for upward mobility has opened the door for their opportunities as well.
For NPIC training, we want to make sure that every CSR that comes through our training has equal access and equal opportunity. We want to make sure that they're able to participate in the same ways that anyone else would, so that they come out of our training feeling empowered, feeling job ready, and excited to just hit the ground running.
Molly Polizio really focuses on the experiences of the new hires. and orientation for them. There's a lot of printed material that is provided to new hires and during the week of orientation. It oftentimes made a JAWS user or blind and visually impaired team member feel excluded or feel like they were missing out on something because they didn't have access to the same information. And so she asked if I could review what they had and see if there were ways to make it more accessible for a JAWS user. We went through a couple rounds of here's my feedback, make some changes, here's my feedback, make some more changes, until it got to the point that it is now, where when a blind or visually impaired team member comes into Peckham and is going through orientation, the sighted individuals are given those printed paper packets, and the JAWS user is sent an electronic file with all of the same information that is fully accessible for them to follow along within the training. A lot of times people confuse accessibility with accommodation. An accommodation is a modification made when something isn't accessible. Because CAS was not accessible for a JAWS user to make appointments, the accommodation was that JAWS users didn't have to make appointments. That's not true accessibility, because accessibility means that everybody has the same level of access to any program, to any task, to anything. Being on an equal footing as your coworker, being able to do the same things, being able to offer the same options to callers is really important. And so I'm really glad that the focus is shifting there. It's starting to shift from accommodation-based changes to accessibility-based changes. And I really try to reinforce that in people's minds when I meet them, that there is a big difference between accommodation and accessibility. More focus needs to be put on that accessibility option as opposed to the accommodation. You have to be open-minded. You have to be open to change. You have to be open to growth. You have to really, really see. So see what somebody's experience is like. See the adversity they're facing. See the difficulties that they have. And then see what you may be able to do to help with that. Having an insider's viewpoint does help with the accessibility challenge. You always kind of have that mindset of, well, put yourself in the other person's shoes, but sometimes that's hard to do. It might be hard for somebody to imagine what their life would be like as a blind person, or how they could possibly use a computer or do the things I do on a daily basis without being able to see. And that's okay, but the fact that I live it and I do it every day and I know what the struggles are is helpful in pushing for those changes. Instead of thinking you know what would help a person with a disability or assuming you know what would help a person with a disability, it's better to just ask the person or trust that they know what they're talking about because they live it every day.
I am excited for April, and I'm excited for the JAWS community here at Peckham, and I'm just excited to see the growth for all and upward mobility for them.